we'll send out the recording to people who missed a little bit in the beginning. Okay, so let's get started. This is the Google 2024 AI update. It's what you need to know to win online in 2024. So at the end of this presentation, you guys will know that you have an updated strategy, or at least knowledge of an updated strategy for 2024. You'll know which Google strategies are best for you. You will know how to do a health check on your Google map and website. And so if any of you guys want me to do this health check for you, you can throw your information into the chat and I'll be able to do it for you live. And also the best way to generate online reviews without using software or bugging your texts. That is a nice special little bonus that we got at the end. So with that, let's just hop in. First of all, why should you guys listen to me? I'm a former investment banker, marketer since 2023. I've been a marketing coach and a speaker since 2019. Me and my company have worked with over 300 home service businesses in just the last couple of years. And on a personal note, why do I do this work? There's a photo with me and my father, way back in 2013 when I first got into digital marketing. My dad was actually my first client. So he had run a garage door business, and he was like, "Hey, how do I get calls?" And I was learning this stuff. I did it for him, and I'm like, "Wow, this really, really works." To go a little bit deeper into that is something I actually just discovered while speaking to, an HVAC guy in Houston a couple of weeks ago. The real reason behind it is when I was really young, when I was in like really young, like before like the kindergarten, first grade, my father had a very successful overhead garage door business. So he was doing commercial overhead doors, but the issue is that he was a subcontractor. And so what that meant is he was getting all of his work from, other companies. And overnight, his business, like 75% of his business, dried up. And he wound up like having to pull us from school, and it was like we were going to these private schools at the time, and it wound up being like a really big thing. And the thing that I love about home services, the thing I love about working with within the trades, is that I feel like I can actually help people in the way that I wish I could have helped my father when I was younger. And so that's my why. That's why I do this. That's why I'm really passionate about the work that we do, and I'm always looking to make sure that our service and our offering is as strong as possible. The big idea I want to get across today is that it is harder than ever to trick Google. I've I've been in SEO for a long, long time. And there's a subset of people who are just like always looking for that thing on how to trick them. And with AI, it's gotten more and more difficult. And instead, what it's about is, instead of it's, trying to trick Google, you have to focus on building your brand online. And there are very specific things that you need to do in order to make that happen. I call it the blocking and tackling of digital marketing. But when you nail it, you get rewarded. And the great news is that you would be absolutely amazed at how many people don't have those basics down. And then also the rewards that come from getting that blocking and tackling, done correctly. So let's go back to basics in that vein. So there are four main sections of Google. If you guys can hear me all right, if you could just throw something in the chat, just like a 1 in the chat, just so I know you guys are here, you can hear me, and everything like that, I would really appreciate it. We got Roberto, Ricardo, Rebecca, Noah, Manny. What's up, Kevin, John, Johnny, Jim, Derwin, David, Lamont? Yeah, just some sort of feedback, please. So otherwise, I feel like I'm just like talking to myself here. All right, cool. Anyway, back to basics. The four main sections of Google. So when you look at a Google search result, you got four main sections. You have local service ads at the top, Google Ads, Maps, and Google Organic. So to give you guys an example, if I were to search AC repair near me, up here at the top, this is Google Guaranteed. Over here, you see one ad. Here you see the organic section where your website shows up. And then here you have the maps section. And it looks like they got an ad in here as well. So there are four main sections of Google. Welcome everybody who's joining us. This is recorded, so you guys will be able to take a look at that afterwards. It's important to understand the four different sections because the four different sections carry with it different strategies. The different strategies are going to be more appropriate for different people depending on where you are in terms of the size of your business, in terms of the size of your business, in terms of like where you are competitive wise. And so we'll go through them and we'll talk about how these sections have changed. And we'll also talk about, what makes sense based off of where you are. And I understand the chat is disabled. So it looks like you guys, might need, oh, maybe that's actually something that I can do in here. Well, I'm not sure how to do it. So rather than mess around with it, we'll just continue. But you guys can message something in the questions and answers or the questions, and I'll be able to answer that way. Okay, local service ads, AKA Google Guaranteed. So this is the very top section of Google over here. So I think of Google local service ads as kind of like ads junior, or ads basic, or, your introduction into Google ads. And Google wants you to spend money on Google ads. And so when you're, taking your first steps into Google ads, they're going to be great. Google local service ads is something hands down everybody should be doing for a number of reasons. Number one, it's going to be the cheapest leads that you're able to get on Google ads. So for an HVAC niche, we're seeing the leads come in anywhere between $40 and $70. And then for like plumbers or other niches and home services, they're coming in way, way less. The other great thing about Google local service ads is you only pay for calls. So it's not pay per click, it's pay per call. You only pay for calls, but to make it even better, you only pay for legit leads. So what that means is it has to be somebody within your service area, needing a service that you offer. And so if it is not any of those things, you don't need to pay for that call. You can dispute it, you can get credited to your account. And so that's one of the main reasons why Google local service ads is so excellent. The only problem that I hear about Google local service ads, the only issue with it is that you can't get that many calls. So if you're an HVAC contractor, depending on like the time of the year, you might get a couple dozen calls per month. And if you're like a plumber or something, you'll get like, there's a higher volume of calls that come through Google local service ads. But the big issue is like, we want more. And so there's a couple of things that we found kind of like a health check to make sure that you can get more calls from Google local service ads. So the first thing is making sure that all of the sections are filled out. So when you log into Google local service ads, if you don't see greens all over the place, it's something that needs to be fixed. So for example, if you have, one of the things that Google requires is that you have proof of insurance. But if your insurance is about to expire, you're going to notice that it's going to be red within your Google local service ads dashboard. So you want to make sure that all those things are filled out. The other thing is there's a bunch of different features, so like there's online scheduling features, there's text messaging features. Those are all things where, you want to make sure that you're enabling them, that you're doing that to generate more calls. And then the two big things that you can do on a daily basis to make sure you're getting enough calls from Google Guaranteed is number one, getting enough reviews, and number two, answering your phone. So Google has a score that they assign to you based off of how many times you answer your phone. So if you're not answering your phone, they are not going to display your ad in GLSA. So you have to make sure you answer your phone. And along those lines, when you're setting up your account, you have to pay very special attention to what your hours of operation are. Like a lot of people, they'll just say 24/7 because they want to get calls 24/7, but are you answering your phone 24/7? If you are an owner operator, like, are you like in the field able to actually answer your phone, to get these calls? Because if you're not, then it's going to be really difficult for you to keep the health of your profile up. And what that'll result in is just fewer calls. So definitely make sure you got a CSR who's dedicated to this, somebody on your team, or an answering service. So that is Google Local Service Ads. If you guys have any questions about GLSA, just throw them in the Q&A section, and then I can get to it. But otherwise, we can move on. And if you have any other questions, you can, I'll come back to them. Alrighty, so the second section of Google is Google Ads. So again, we're doing AC repair near me. Over here, you see one sponsored result. So Google Ads, I've come to see as the holy grail for growing your business on Google. And there's a couple of reasons, for this. It's it's really like the only place on Google where you can throttle your calls. You can look in the morning, or you can look on a Monday at your week and look at the call board and say, hey, this call board is a little bit empty. I want to throw more money at ads. Or, this call board is looking great. We're getting enough calls off of our referrals, repeat business, our organic channels, that we can just throttle this back a little bit and spend a little bit less. So it gives you the control to really grow your business in the way that you want. If you know that you want to grow 30% this year or something like that, you can do it. And by the way, if you have like more moderate growth goals, Google Ads is great for that. However, there is a huge caveat to this. So I'm going to give you guys like a quick story to explain this. In my business, a digital marketing business, our version of Google Ads is social media ads. That's like what we can use to like generate leads pretty much, at will. And what's interesting is that I tried to do social media ads for years, and it never worked. It was always like, oh man, these ads are too expensive, or oh, not enough of them close, or oh, like there's just problems where it just wasn't profitable. And here it was, I was like really frustrated because I was looking all around me in the digital marketing space, and I saw all these other people, growing their business like hand over fist, and they were using the ad strategy. So I'm like, well, what exactly is it? And what I learned is that running ads isn't like the number one thing. It's not all about running ads. It is about like running great ads is number one, but there's all of these other things that happen afterwards that make the difference. It's all about the sales funnel, after you get the lead, or in the case of Google Ads, after you get, the phone call. So for example, like you guys really need your sales funnel to be dialed in every step of the way. You need to make sure that your CSRs are absolutely crushing it. You need to make sure that your techs are diagnosing well. And then the third thing, if you have comfort specialists or comfort advisors going in to sell, just changing out units, you need to make sure that they're doing a great job, that they're closing at a high rate. And you also need to make sure that you're charging premium prices. So it's like, if you have all of those things dialed in, you're able to then make Google Ads profitable for your business. The problem with with Google Ads, and the reason why some people have tried it in the past and they're like, oh, it didn't work for me, is because they didn't have all of those other steps. Well, it is possible that they weren't running good ads in the first place, so they weren't getting like the cost per lead, cost per call down to where it needed to be. But more than likely, the issue was everything that happened, when the call came in. And so it's the holy grail. I kind of view this as the aspirational marketing. This is the thing that you really want to, aspire to have everything so locked in your business that you're able to make this profitable for you. And the great thing about it is, like, once you do know your numbers, once you do have it locked in, you'll know what your maximum price per call is. So you might say like, okay, well, based off of the percentage of calls that, we book, based off of the jobs that we run, based off the deals that we sell, we can spend $250 for a call, like in the HVAC space, for example. And then once you have that information, then it becomes very easy for the, your marketing partner to say, all right, great, that's your number. We can work with that. Let's see how many leads we can get you that are underneath that number. And that's when you really have control over your business. So any questions about Google Ads? While you guys are thinking about that, another thing I'd like to mention is that Google Ads is constantly innovating. With AI, one thing that they've introduced Performance Max, which is a part of Google Ads. It basically allows you to show ads on throughout all the different networks that they have, from Gmail to the display network, from Maps, everything over. So you definitely want to make sure, if you are going to go this route, that you're working with somebody who knows what is happening right now. It's the latest things that give you like the edge in your marketing. And one thing I liked about this ad in particular is you'll see that there's a button for call us. They've got like these other things about AC maintenance. And what I also really like is the fact that they have an offer. So the offer here is $53 off AC repairs. Having a great offer is one of the best ways you can make sure that your ads are performing well. Cool. So moving on to Google Maps. So Google Maps is this section of Google right over here. What's great about Google Maps is you can see a lot of information about the business. You can check out all of their reviews, and then on a mobile device, you just like tap to call. So we've been doing call tracking for years, and when we compare the calls that come Google organic, meaning from your website on Google and Google Maps, we found that 80% of the local calls come from Google Maps, which is astounding. It really is the lion's share. The thing about Google Maps is you can really only rank in a certain radius around your headquarters. So for HVAC businesses, we generally max out in a 7-mile radius. This depends hugely on the area that you're in. If you're in like a really rural area where there's like hardly any competitors, that can be much wider. But if you're, in the middle of, Austin, it might be a little bit more difficult. So there's a lot of different factors that go in there. Since you can only rank in just call it like on average a 7-mile radius, the only way to really generate more leads from Google Maps once you've maxed out your radius is by generating additional profiles. So the whole ecosystem of additional profiles is wild. Like it used to be crazy. Last year we were part of a program where we could literally just like send information to Google and get a map, created instantly. It was called Google Partners Program. They shut that down. And really what we found is it's best to stick, to play by the rules. Everything that we do for our clients and everything that I'd recommend that you guys do, it has to be future proof. You don't want something that just like works today or works for the next couple of months and then dies. You want something that's going to be future proof, that's going to support your business, from, as far as you can see, like for the foreseeable future. Because the last thing that you want really is that, oh, we're able to increase the leads. You guys hire, an additional tech or something, and then something happens with the algorithm, and then, we were playing on a loophole and then it drops. So everything really, you really need to play by the rules here. But you can get additional profiles. The best way to get additional profiles is to legit set up another office. You can do this by getting, cheap rent in an industrial park, or, people work from home these days. If you want to have a home address, although I do have to let you guys know, rankings are much, much stronger when you're showing the address. So you want to make sure, like, if you're doing that, it's not just like a tech on your team. It's either an address that you own as a business owner, or somebody in the business who's like going to be there, like a lifer, somebody who owns equity in the company. And then considering the 7-mile radius, if you guys do get additional profiles, I'd recommend that you get them maybe about 15 miles apart. Reviews are an important ingredient in your rankings on Google Maps. It is not the be all end all. Like the way that I like to explain it is that it's kind of like if you're baking a cake, you need flour, you need sugar, eggs, milk, like whatever. Reviews are like the sugar. It's like it's not going to be a cake just reviews alone. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to who've had hundreds of reviews and they didn't rank anywhere. So you need like all the other factors there, but reviews are absolutely an important ingredient. And if you don't have enough reviews on your profile, Google can put you in a sandbox, meaning that they don't allow you to rank anywhere. You use GeoGrids to monitor your rankings on the maps. I'll show you guys what that looks like afterwards. And then the other thing is that your rankings are impacted by key website factors. So this is like really critical. The things that happen on your website directly impact what you're seeing on your Google map and the keywords that you're searching for. So, just to give you guys a little bit of, what's going to be obvious after I say it, but if over here you can see that the main category is air conditioning repair service, or this one is HVAC contractor. So if your main service, if your main category is HVAC contractor, probably makes sense for you to optimize for the keyword HVAC contractor somewhere prominently on your website. And then when you go into Google, your Google business profile, you're going to select your main category. You're going to see all of these different services, and those important services, probably a good idea to make sure that those are optimized on your website as well. It's what we do for our clients. So understanding the GeoGrid report, this is a GeoGrid report. The idea is that, your map rankings are like a cell phone tower. So the signal gets weaker the further out you get. Over here, these little dots, they indicate if somebody is searching from this geographic location, where does your company show up in the map? So, dark green, you show up number 1, light green, number 2 or number 3, and yellow is 4 or 5, red is like, 20. And, as with all sections of Google, winner take all. You're either top 3 or you're invisible. Other things that we've noticed is that Google trusts brands, and all the signals that a strong brand will naturally generate are things that Google will reward. So, for example, if you've been operating in an area of a certain area for a long time, like 10 years, people know your vans. They've seen your trucks around. You probably already have like a group of, a large customer base. Those people are going to be Googling your name on a fairly regular basis. And that's the signals that Google is seeing. They're like, oh, wow, we have cell phones of people who are searching in this area for this big brand. And so Google rewards that. It's one of those things that, it's kind of like the rich get richer, but the good news is there are things that you can do to mimic those signals to help give you a boost while you develop your customer base. So that's the update on Google Maps. Moving on to Google Organic. So Google Organic, 20% of organic calls we're finding come from the organic section of Google. They definitely have an impact on your map rankings. And the huge benefit for Google Organic is, on the maps, you're kind of like limited to a 7-mile radius, versus for Google Organic, you can target all of the towns in your service area, and you can target all of the services, in your service area for those, all the services in those towns. So you definitely get like a much wider reach. Although, you're not going to get as many calls as you would for Google Maps. The big thing that we've noticed, just like looking internally and just looking at the data, is that this used to be a thing about backlinks. Back in the day, even just like a couple of years ago, it was all about like how strong are your backlinks? Are they coming from highly powered websites? And what we found instead these days is they still care about backlinks, but it's a different type of backlink. And this is where, we're, it's going back to basics. It's, we're building your brand online rather than trying to trick them. So trying to trick Google is being like, all right, we've got this high powered site to link to us. But building your brand online, what that looks like is how many citations and directories do you have that link to your website? Do you have a Chamber of Commerce, link to your website? Do you have an HVAC, a plumbing, an electrical directory linking to your website? Does your manufacturer that you buy equipment from, are you listed on their directory? Are they linking to you? Like those are the backlinks that seem to matter most right now for local service area businesses. And then the second thing is your content. So I think this is really like a big way that Google has kind of like embraced this AI concept, is that Google's able to think, think it's still a robot at the end of the day. But before it was, I don't know if the content on the site is good, so I'm just going to rely on the backlinks to tell me if it's good or not. Now what Google is looking at is like, wait, we actually can tell if this website is good based off of the content on it, and that's how we're going to reward. So with rankings. So what we've been moving towards with our clients is when we do the website SEO, we're creating their websites into be like little mini Wikipedia pages, like little mini Wikipedias. So there's pages on all of the services, but if you click on the services, you can go deeper in and you can find out, oh, okay, AC repair. Well, here are the common troubleshooting or common issues with air conditioning units, and then you can click in to find more information about each of those items. So, and then also just regularly updating your website. So it's a really big change. It's surprising because, for so long it was this one thing, and to see it moving in the other direction. But, that's why you just got to keep on top of these things and make sure you're running the tests and looking at the data. All right, cool. So I promised you guys early in this call that I'll let you know how to give a health check on your Google Map and website. So what we do to check like the overall health is we do something called an entity check on clients. So to do an entity check, it's really simple. All you need to do is search your company name plus your address. So if you guys want to throw in the Q&A, something, I could do it for you. Otherwise, I can just randomly choose from a company over here. So I'm just going to choose this company. So it's True Blue Heating and Air, and this is their address. All right, so I got Shaw Air, so I'll do that. Richard, if you could put in, okay, great. So let me do this one first, and then we'll do this. We'll do you afterwards. True Blue Heating and Air. I'm going to show you guys what shows up. Okay, so people are taking out ads for this business name, probably because they have heating and air in the name. And this is not the strongest. So what I normally like to see, is the Google Map show up on the knowledge panel on the side. But in this case, we've got like two businesses, and they look like they're right next to each other. So what I would recommend to this contractor is that you merge the two of them together. And then if you look what shows up next, so you have their homepage, but this is like a big mistake. You see, it says missing 1720 Bel Air. That means that on their website, they don't have their address, which is like a pretty big miss. They have MapQuest Home Advisor. This is another directory. This is okay, but what I'd usually like to see instead is like your Facebook, your YouTube video. Let me show you from a client website. This is Moose Roofing in Omaha. Just to give you an example, this is an example of like a healthy entity check. So when we look over here on the knowledge panel on the right, you see the Google Business Profile. And as you scroll down, you can see it has products, it has information about the company, it has recent posts, it has all of their social profiles, right? And then over here, you have their site, and then you have the other pages on their site that are searched the most: Yelp, Better Business Bureau, LinkedIn. It's interesting. I did this search like literally earlier today, and I was getting their YouTube videos and all this other stuff. So let me search Shaw Air. 6350 McDonough Drive. So let's see what shows up. All right, cool. So this is good. You know, you're seeing this show up here. I would always check to see newest. So reviews 4 weeks ago, a month ago. So this means that there's going to be, getting more reviews is likely to help. It's not always, it's not always the quantity, the total quantity, but it's also the recency of reviews. And you're gonna love this, Richard, because like at the end, I'll show you how you can get like a ton of reviews and it's not going to cost you anything, really. But this is good. The services were set up. It's HVAC contractor in Georgia. Okay, that's good. We've got a post from November. You can add in other social media profiles. That's going to be a really good idea. And here's another thing that I'm checking for is I'm checking for like consistency. So this is shown as Shaw Air. So we want to make sure that, it shows up exactly the same way on the different profiles, so like slightly different over here. The fact that we're getting a secondary, you know, like another page on your website here isn't like the best, because ideally, again, it would look something like this. Building more backlinks to your site is going to help that. Setting up your interlinking correctly is going to help that as well. This looks like it is a directory, but at least it has the name correctly displayed. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. I would give this, what's fascinating is like, yeah, look, your Facebook shows up all the way in the bottom. And the reason why your Facebook shows up that low is because you don't have the address on your Facebook page, which is something that I see a lot. So when it comes to your social media profiles, make sure you've got your name, your address, your phone number on all of your social media profiles. And then the other thing, like bonus points, is when you post to your profile, like you can link to other profiles. So this was something that got posted November 17th. I don't like the fact that this is a stock image. So what I would highly, highly, highly recommend, this is actually what we tell our clients, just pick one social media profile, and like Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is that you like, and then just post once a week. That's it. Because if you post once a week, you'll give your marketing partner the images that they need to post on your other profiles. And so something that we would do, so this is fine, but we would actually link this to your website. We would link it to your other social media profiles. So this way, like they're all kind of like linking together. And so Google knows like, oh, all right, these are all part of one entity. So like I'd probably give this, like a B plus. It's not the worst that I've seen, but there's definitely room for improvement. I really dig that. I think that's pretty cool. All right, sweet. So entity check, we kind of went over, Google your business name and address. Does the knowledge panel show up? Is your website the first hit? Do you have your main social profiles? All right, cool. So now I wanted to just give you guys, a bonus, which is how to get 80% of your customers to leave you a review. So, for a while, we've noticed that getting reviews for your business is like important. It's not the be all end all, but it's definitely important. And so we were trying like everything to figure out like how to help our clients with this. We were testing out different software on their behalf. We were seeing, hey, can we get other people, like to post, which by the way is a really bad idea. I think like ethically it's not a good idea to get like fake reviews, but also like it's one of those things where it's short term versus long term, where you might win short term, but long term it's not gonna work. But what we found is that these NFC cards, I had one client I was talking to earlier this week. He said that he's getting 80% of his customers to leave him a review. And it's simply a near field communication card. You program the cards with your Google review link, you attach it to a lanyard, and you just make sure that your techs are wearing them all day long. And so instead of paying $200 a month for a review service that at best is going to get 30% of customers to leave you a review, you can spend like $50, get these done. If you want my help on it, you can just email me at sales@pmnow.biz, and we'll be able to get them in your hands. But these are so effective, like all of our clients get them. So the second that they sign up, we program them and we send them, send them these NFC cards with the lanyards. Just, depending on the number of texts that they have is the number that we'll send. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As any questions you guys have, throw them into the question and answer. I want to let you guys know, as being an attendee on this webinar, if you do want us, to talk to PM Now about services, and if you do wind up signing up, you will get $250 off your first month of service. So just contact sales@pmnow.biz so we can run a health check on your online profiles and talk to you about the other strategies that we have. So that's it. That's it for me. If you guys have any questions, you can throw them in there. And otherwise, thank you so much for the time. I hope this has been super valuable for you. And yeah, don't be a stranger. You know where to find us. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.